if you ever find yourself crying in front of a narcissistic person, you can get there's a few different responses that you can get. And if you're new here, I'm a narcissist. I have narcissistic personality disorder. So this response that she got right here was anger. And a lot of narcissistic people, when you cry, get angry because they think you are using your tears to manipulate them, because that's what they would do to you with their tears. They think that you are trying to manipulate them because they will manipulate you with their tears. So they get angrier and angrier and angrier, and they might scream at you, hey, your crying doesn't fix anything. Crying doesn't solve anything. You're too emotional. Narcissistic people, a little bit more toxic, get happy when you cry. They get pleasure in causing you pain and suffering. Sometimes when you start crying in front of a narcissist, they'll smirk at you. Or they'll go blank because they don't understand the emotions behind why you are crying. You're sitting there boohoo crying, they'll be blank staring at you, and then they'll go off into the distance and maybe watch some stuff and start laughing at a TV show or something like that. If you ever find yourself crying in front of a narcissist, be prepared for a weird response. What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of A Narcissist Explains. I am self-aware, diagnosed narcissist Lee Hammock, and I use my platform on social media to raise awareness for NPD, get more people into therapy, like myself, and also validate the victims and survivors of said disorder. This series is dedicated to making my TikToks and YouTube shorts longer. They are 60 seconds or less, and this is going to be longer than 60 seconds. So, the TikTok you just watched was me responding to someone. She said, my ex used to get angrier when I cried, and said he didn't know why it pissed him off even more. So her ex would get angry when she cried. And you can see my response right there, y'all. So that was a 60-second response. That people on TikTok, hey, can you go deeper into this and things like that? Yeah, I can always go deeper into it because, like I said in the video, a lot of narcissists get angrier when you cry because they don't understand the emotions behind it, and they also think that you are using your tears to try to manipulate them, because that's what they would use their tears for. So a narcissist gets angry, like, okay, here you go crying right now. I know what I would do if I was crying in front of you. I know my tears would mean that I'm trying to get you off the point. My tears for you would mean I'm trying to get you away from being angry at me. I'm trying to get you to feel sorry for me instead. My tears will be used to try to make you feel guilty, as opposed to try to get you to feel, try to, show any kind of sorrow or empathy or take any kind of accountability. My tears will be fake. So I'm going on the premise that your tears are fake, because how dare you have a different way of thinking than I do. It's as simple as that. A lot of narcissistic people don't understand your tears. They don't, and like, some of them don't care. Some literally don't care. Like, when you start crying, it empowers them, because if they can trigger you, they can control you. Simple as that. And everybody's going to be different, y'all. I don't speak for all narcissists, because some narcissists, when you cry, they might start crying. When you cry, they might get angry and try to get rage out on you. When you cry, some of them might be happy, and you're laying beside in the bed crying. They're watching a YouTube video. I guess it's just a ha, or they're watching, Some of them get to the point where they're over there watching something and just ignoring you because they don't care about your tears. They let you cry and cry and cry and figure it out on your own, because that's what narcissists feel like they need. Like we as narcissistic people, we have to figure stuff out on our own. You know what I mean? It's very hard for me as a narcissist to depend on anybody else. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's not. I don't know. I have problems trusting people with my feelings, trusting people with my emotions and things like that. So trust is big for narcissists. As weird as it sounds. It's just like, we don't trust you with our emotions enough to cry in front of you unless it's to manipulate you. Unless you're about to leave us, and if you're about to change, our whole lives about to change because you're leaving us because of something that we actually did. But we want you to we want you to feel sorry for it. So you have to be careful when you cry in front of narcissists. And here's the kicker right here. This is one I forgot to mention. That sometimes when you cry, your narcissist in your life could become aroused and try to clap your cheeks while you're crying. They're just like, because they made you cry. They take pleasure in pain. They take pleasure in your suffering sometimes, and it turns them on to have control over somebody like that. Hey, I really can control this person so much so that they're starting to cry right now. You're so hot when you cry. Ooh, your tears is just like, your tears are, like what's that? Your tears are like an aphrodisiac. You know what I mean? Like, I want to say oysters are the aphrodisiac. Your tears are the oysters of your face. What did I just say? You know, your tears are the aphrodisiac of your face. You know what I mean? So your tears might turn them on. Like the more and more you cry, the more and more you begging them to leave you alone and begging them to stop, it turns them on. The harder they'll try to just, you know, they'll try to sleep with you. And if you sleep with them in this moment of grief and pain and suffering, if you sleep with them, weirdly, sometimes, but from what I've read and from what I've heard from different people, you become more connected to that person because your emotional state is down and up, down and up, down and up. The same person who hurt you is the same person who makes you feel good. So in that situation, they become your savior. You getting your cheeks clapped. You're not even thinking about what happened to you, why you crying in the first place. Well, what was I crying for? Clap, 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 clap. What was I crying for? The same thing. I mean, yeah, the same thing works the other way. When you clap at some cheeks, you know, you forget what you were crying, what you were angry about. You know what I mean? So so be careful. I'm not telling you to stifle your own emotions and stuff like that, but this kind of goes back to say when I tell people like one of your greatest powers against a narcissist is your inability to react. Like your reactions are your power. So if you don't react to them and what they're doing to you, if you don't give them those tears, you and remain in control of your emotions. If they cannot trigger you, they cannot control you. So in essence, you win. You know. I know a lot of people don't speak in simple terms of win and lose, but like that's how my mind works. It's either a win or a loss a lot of times. Like if you don't cry, it's a loss for me. Well, at least I got my point across. Even if you got a narcissistic person that's yelling and screaming at you at the top of their lungs, saying the meanest things to you, and you're just not reacting, you know. By not reacting, I don't mean just sitting there like, just staring at them like you just despondent, because that means that might make them matter. You might antagonize them more and more and more to the point where they explode on you. You know, they just rage on you. They might put their hands on you. You just never know how that goes right there. You know what I mean? So in that situation right there where you stand, you have to take back your power. You know, don't engage with them. If you can leave the room, if you can leave the area, leave the area. Don't stand there and let them explode on you. I mean, when I say don't engage with them, don't react, don't start to argue with them. Well, I don't give a because I'm just saying some of these people are dangerous. I'm not saying you're not dangerous. I'm not saying not to protect yourself, but if it comes down to it, protect yourself, of course. But if you have the ability to get away from the situation, get away from the situation. I'm not telling you to leave for good unless you want to. I'm telling you to get away from there right then and there so you can think with a clear mind. Because if you cry again, if they yell and scream at you and then you start crying and they're like, yeah, see, there you go again, getting all emotional, can't control your emotions. You always try to manipulate me with your tears. All emotion, you too much into your feelings. That's why you can't think straight. That's why I'm in charge. You see? You have to get control of those emotions. Yeah. Because as a narcissist, like we can emotionally disconnect. Like it can be almost on cue, y'all. Like literally almost on cue. Like the emotional disconnect that comes from us can literally almost be on cue. Like, okay, time to disconnect and flip. Or if you're crying sometimes, like I think I talked about this in the original video. If you're crying sometimes, they might blank stare at you. Just like you're about that boohoo crying. They're looking at you like you're the most disgusting person on the planet. Or just looking at you like that because your emotions are kind of rattled and shaking up there. You know what I mean? They're just kind of, yeah. They're sitting there and messing with you. So that's why I say you have to remain in your strength. Yeah, you just have to. Because narcissists, a lot of people, I have the whole list of emotions. I can feel all the emotions. I just choose not to try to express them. Yeah, I get mad, I get hurt, I get angry. I feel the whole battery of emotions, the whole battery of normal human emotions. I just can choose to turn them off, so I don't want to connect to you in that way. Sometimes I'm just like, no, yeah. Especially if you're crying over grief, if you're like one of your parents passed away, somebody close to you, your animal or something like that, and they'll just sit right there, they'll just disconnect from you. Like, okay, you done crying yet? Or they'll shut the door on you, or they'll do something like, you done crying yet? You done grieving yet? I mean, it's not like you passed away or I passed away. Like, they were 98 years old. What did you expect to happen? They were 99. They were really sick. What did you expect to happen? Get over it. Life goes on. Why are you still sad right now? Blah, blah, blah this, blah, blah, blah that. Don't expect understanding from a narcissist. I know some of the questions I'm going to get in the comment section like, well, how do we get through to them? How do we make them understand it? You can't. There's one thing you just can't. I be feeling like y'all want to have a normal relationship with a narcissist. That doesn't work. Normal is not a word in the narcissist vocabulary. You just don't have a normal relationship. If you have two neurotypical friends that are in a relationship together, you won't have that with a narcissist. You just won't. You just won't. If they cry, you see one of them crying and the other one's consoling them, and just, I got you. You won't get that. You might get that in the beginning. You won't get that continuously. Anyways, y'all, like and subscribe for more. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode. I really truly appreciate y'all. Mental Illness is out. Peace.